Seeing my ex-husband again 5 years after our divorce, only to find out he was now my immediate supervisor, was jarring. Back then, he had abandoned me countless times for his first love. It was because of that woman that we divorced. The moment I walked into the office that morning, my manager announced a team-building event for the evening. "Tonight, we're having a joint team-building event with the branch office. Lots of handsome guys will be there, so all you ladies better come." It was essentially a company-organized matchmaking event. My colleagues eagerly signed up. Just as I put my name down and was getting ready to pack up, my ex-husband appeared. He announced authoritatively, "Olivia, get ready. You're working late tonight." He crossed my name off the list and forcefully pulled me into his office. Slamming the door shut, he planted his hands on either side of me, pinning me against the desk. "They can go, but you can't." His domineering tone stirred up old memories, and anger flared within me. "If I find out you sneak off to this mixer, I'll lock you up. What does whether I go or not have to do with you?" I pushed him away and stormed out of the office. My colleague Liz saw me come out and sidled over. "Olivia, what did you do to piss off Mr. Harrison? Why is he always picking on you?" I shook my head, returning to my desk, feigning ignorance. "That's weird," Liz mused, then lowered her voice. "Could it be, he's interested in you? So he's deliberately trying to get your attention?" Her words immediately sparked gossip among the nearby colleagues. One female colleague chimed in, "Liz has a point. He always asks you to stay late and work overtime with him alone." "That's true. And remember those mooncakes we got last time? Mr. Harrison specifically told us to save the red bean paste ones for you." I cut them off impatiently. "Stop gossiping. He has a girlfriend. They're practically on their second marriage." I quickly packed my bag, clocked out, and waited for the elevator. Inside the elevator, a few colleagues pressed further. "Olivia, how do you know that? Olivia, is that true? A second marriage?" "Of course, it's true. I'm the ex-wife who was cheated on for 5 years." I nodded, turned, and left, letting them speculate among themselves. I thought seeing my ex-husband again would depress me, but in reality, my heart no longer stirred for Ethan. We had been married for 5 years, preceded by 4 years of dating. Altogether, it had been 9 long years. Technically, our marriage didn't survive the 7-year itch. But if you count the whole relationship, we did make it past that milestone. Yet, the ending was still estrangement. My heart truly died on our 5th wedding anniversary. That day, he booked Times Square for his white moonlight, Sophia, displaying celebratory messages for her return on the giant screens for a full 24 hours. At night, countless drones formed a light show in the sky, creating the most beautiful spectacle. The trending topic online was a passionate kiss between them under the lights, surrounded by countless roses. It was 99, netizens 99 blessings, keeping this phrase as its specific slang, or translate contextually. It was accompanied by thousands of blessings from netizens. Even the official Times Square account commented, calling them a golden couple, a match made in heaven, destined to grow old together. On one side, countless people celebrated their love. On the other side, I was at the hospital taking care of his father. The roses symbolizing love, the stunning drone light show, the fervent atmosphere, none of it had anything to do with me. So that's what Ethan meant when he said he wouldn't be home tonight. I thought I had put up a good front, but my eyes still reddened. His father saw my expression and sighed. I quickly looked up, realizing he had just asked for his phone to check the weather forecast for tomorrow. Of course, it was trending online. The news apps knew how to push notifications. How could his father not see it? "Olivia, let it go. Let yourself go. He's not worth it. Get a divorce." I thought his father would advise me to pretend I hadn't seen it, but instead, he urged me to divorce. "Dad, please focus on getting better first. Nothing else matters." Although he was my father-in-law, he had always been very kind to me. I wanted him to recover. As for the divorce, that was between Ethan and me. I didn't want to worry the old man further. However, his father waved his hand dismissively. "Olivia, I don't have many years left. If you two divorce, it would fulfill one of my wishes. I shouldn't have pushed you into this mess in the first place. I can't control him, but you still have a long life ahead of you. Do it for yourself." The old man tremblingly took out a bank card and a gift declaration form from the drawer, handing them to me. I quickly refused but was cut off. "I've been hospitalized for so long, and he hasn't even come to see me once. You deserve this for taking care of me. Don't worry, Dad still has his savings for his coffin. If you don't accept this, I truly won't rest easy." The old man pressed the card into my hand, not allowing me to refuse, and then urged me to leave. "Go home. There's a caregiver here at night. Hurry up and get the divorce finalized. Leaving the hospital room, I sat in my car and took out my phone. I hesitated for a moment, flashes of the past running through my mind. When did it all start? It had never really stopped, had it? I had just been deceiving myself into believing they were long over, to make myself feel better. Thinking back carefully, I had truly fooled myself. I dialed his number. He hung up on me 7 times in a row. Each rejection strengthened my resolve. Finally, the call connected. His voice was still distant and cold. Speak. I wanted to get straight to the point, but when I opened my mouth, it came out as, "Where are you?" "Working overtime." His answer was unsurprising, even with the sound of Sophia's laughter beside him. I sighed, cursing myself inwardly. Why bother asking when I already knew? "Ethan, tomorrow morning, 8:30, let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau for a divorce." There was a pause on the other end, then his voice, laced with impatience. "Playing these games now, are we? If you want the divorce agreement, fine, I'll send it to you. Bring it with you tomorrow." With that, I hung up and drove home. I took out my suitcase and started packing, intending to take only my things. Let the things that once belonged to both of us stay in the past. But as I started packing, I suddenly realized there were so many things. And most of them represented my unrequited feelings. Couple toothbrushes, couple outfits, couple jewelry, he had never used any of them. Many were still unopened. Love and the lack of it are truly obvious. It's just that he never loved me, so I couldn't even see something so simple. Even our wedding photos were like that, me smiling, him with a cold expression. There was a distance between us in the picture. Just like in our relationship, he was never willing to get closer to me, not even a little. I went to the apartment I bought before the marriage, organized my things, and started thinking about what I needed to buy. That night, I slept incredibly peacefully. The next morning, the early sunlight filled the bedroom, feeling wonderful. I got ready and headed to the Civil Affairs Bureau. After parking my car, I waited for Ethan in the lobby. I took out my phone and saw Sophia had posted a 9-photo grid. It included roses, a wedding ring, various photos of them kissing intimately, and hotel check-in information. The caption read, "After all this time, the rest of my life is still you." I silently took screenshots. I thought I would be devastated, but surprisingly, after just one night, my heart felt completely different. It wasn't painless, that would be a lie, but the pain was minimal. Fresh evidence of infidelity served right up? How could I not accept it? I waited at the Civil Affairs Bureau from the moment they opened until their lunch break, but Ethan never showed up. A staff member approached me. "Ma'am, we close at 11:30 a.m. and don't process applications during the lunch break." I nodded. "It's okay." Perhaps seeing me sitting in the divorce section, the staff member kindly advised, "Maybe he doesn't want to divorce if he didn't show up. Why don't you try talking it over again?" I shook my head. He probably hasn't woken up from his night with his lover yet. Seeing the staff member's shocked expression, I indicated there was no need for further persuasion. I picked up my phone and called Ethan. This time, it connected on the first try. "What is it?" "I'm at the Civil Affairs Bureau." "When are you coming?" Sensing the hostility in my tone, Ethan paused for a moment before saying, "I'm busy. We'll talk at home tonight." He hung up. I stood up to leave, but the staff member suddenly said, "He doesn't have to come, actually. You can file online." She pointed to a small sign standing in the distance. "Thank you." After lunch, I followed the instructions on the sign, uploaded the necessary information, and filed the lawsuit. In the afternoon, I went to the supermarket to buy some necessities. By the time I finished putting everything away, it was dark. I was about to order takeout when Ethan's call came before I could even sit down. When I answered, his impatient voice came through. "Why aren't you back yet?" "Not back yet? Didn't you just get back yourself?" Wait, that didn't seem right. I didn't take that much stuff, it was normal he didn't notice. Hearing my silence, he continued, "I bought you a gift." "What?" I cut him off, asking, "Did you receive the summons?" "What summons?" "The court summons. Since you wouldn't come for the divorce, I had to file a lawsuit." "I already got the notification, you should have received it too." "Olivia, are you crazy? Why are you divorcing me out of the blue? Since you two are so public now, you should give her a proper status. Isn't it good that I'm stepping aside? Since I'm being so understanding, you should sign the papers quickly." I hung up after saying that. Since I had already decided on divorce, why bother talking more? The priority now was ordering takeout. About half an hour later, footsteps approached the door. I was about to get up to greet my delivery, but stopped abruptly. That was the sound of high heels. The next second, the lock turned, and Ethan opened the door. He was dressed in a black suit, elegant and composed, his chiseled features exceptionally handsome. If it weren't for his gloomy expression and simmering anger, anyone would call him a promising young talent. In the past, when he showed this expression, I would have immediately rushed over to appease him, regardless of who was right or wrong. He was always high and mighty, like an untouchable sun. And I was the weak, insecure person untouched by the sunlight. Now, looking at him, I didn't feel that way anymore. The power of rose-tinted glasses is indeed strong. I believed I would emerge from the gloom soon. His arrival also reminded me of something very important: change the password. No, change the lock entirely. Ethan strode in quickly, bringing a scent of jasmine perfume with him. I instinctively frowned. It wasn't his usual men's cologne, but the one Sophia used. Perhaps they had been too close, inevitably picking up the scent. He handed me a box and opened it. Inside lay a Van Cleef & Arpels carnelian pendant. I merely glanced at it. This was his usual tactic. After any argument, he'd toss me a so-called gift, and the matter would be considered closed. The next day would be peaceful. But he probably didn't remember. This was the 4th time he'd given me the exact same gift. Seeing my attitude, Ethan's face darkened. In his mind, he had offered an olive branch, and my refusal to take it was simply ungrateful. Have you signed it? Or do you think there are financial matters to divide? I didn't understand what Ethan was stalling for. We actually had no finances to divide, that was settled in the prenuptial agreement. Come to think of it, I had Ethan's friend, Kevin, to thank for this. As his friend, it was normal for him to dislike me and want to set Ethan up with Sophia. When we got married, he suggested a prenuptial agreement, naturally so that I wouldn't have grounds to demand a share of Ethan's assets after he eventually dumped me. Now, it actually made the divorce process easier for me. All Ethan needed to do was sign. Sophia is back. What's wrong with us throwing a welcome party for her? No problem. Then what are you making a fuss about? What does you throwing her a welcome party have to do with our divorce? This was perhaps the first time I had ever talked back to Ethan. He looked at me, somewhat stunned, then sneered. You're just throwing a tantrum because I didn't invite you to Sophia's welcome party yesterday. What? Have you been reading too many novels and trying to play hard to get? Why didn't I invite you? Don't you know why? Every time, you target Sophia and ruin the atmosphere. Why would I bring you? His words were full of anger and accusation. I didn't want to argue. Since there are no disputed assets to divide, please sign the papers quickly. After I spoke, an awkward silence filled the air. After a long moment, Ethan spoke through gritted teeth. I know you're angry with me because I didn't take you. How about this? Tomorrow night, we'll host. Invite them over to our place. Remember to prepare the food. Oh, right, Sophia doesn't eat cilantro, don't put it in by mistake. Having issued his command, Ethan didn't spare me another glance and left the apartment. I rubbed my temples, feeling a dull ache. He really treated me like a nanny and a cook. After eating my takeout, I took out my phone, looked at the button on the Quartz mini program, and pressed the request judgment option without hesitation. Thank goodness for the new regulations that allowed bypassing the cooling-off period and the need for both parties' signatures on the agreement. Now, I just had to wait for the court to process the application when they opened on Monday, fastest 24 hours, slowest half a month, and the divorce could be finalized. The next day, I finally finished furnishing my small apartment with everything I needed, including changing the door lock and setting a new password. 4:30 p.m. I was preparing dinner when my phone rang incessantly. It was the ringtone I had specifically set for Ethan. I pressed the mute button and continued with my task. About half an hour later, after prepping the ingredients, I checked my phone. It was filled with missed calls and messages. Another call came in. I answered it. My line had been busy. What if there was an urgent work call I missed? Olivia, are you crazy? Where are you? At home. At home? How come I can't find you? Everyone's here. Why haven't you made dinner yet? Forget it. Who knows how late we'll eat if we wait for you. Come to the Grandview restaurant. Right now. Immediately. Or you can forget about me signing anything. He hung up immediately. I thought for a moment and decided to go. No ulterior motives, just thinking that if he signed, the divorce would be quicker, and some steps in the lawsuit could be skipped, saving time. Following the address in the message, I brought the signed divorce agreement to the Grandview restaurant. The private room was already full. When I pushed the door open, the room fell silent. I scanned the room, there wasn't even a seat for me. I looked up at Ethan. But Sophia, sitting intimately beside him, quickly asked the waiter to add a chair and place setting for me. After I sat down, Kevin immediately started with sarcastic, pointed remarks. The decor in this Grandview restaurant really needs an upgrade. A table for 12 squeezed to 13 makes it so crowded. The others were all their friends, and their faces instantly showed they were enjoying the drama. Ethan remained silent, but Sophia beside him tried to smooth things over. It's okay, it's livelier when it's a bit crowded. After a few rounds of drinks, they started playing Truth or Dare at the table. The bottle pointed at Sophia. She chose Truth, and the crowd instantly started hooting. Kevin shot me a provocative glance and asked Sophia, "Who did you come back for this time?" Sophia looked a little embarrassed, then mustered her courage and said, "I came back specifically for Ethan." She glanced at me as she finished, her eyes full of challenge. Beside her, Kevin, fueled by alcohol, immediately started jeering, "Yo yo yo, true love conquers all. Ethan, I'm telling you, it wasn't your fault you two missed each other back then. Setting things right now is the proper path." "Oh, so I was the wrong turn, and Sophia was the righteous path?" Sophia smiled, looking tenderly at Ethan. "Back then, my mom was sick and urgently needed treatment abroad. I was afraid of holding you back, so I broke up with you, which led to us missing our chance. I think." From the moment Sophia started speaking, the anticipation in Ethan's eyes never ceased. It was an anticipation I had never seen directed at me. Watching the reunion of this perfect couple, a faint smile appeared on my face. They made it sound like I had ruthlessly torn them apart. The woman sitting next to me leaned over slightly and said, "Olivia, if I were you, I'd want to crawl into a hole. Why insist on getting between a couple?" I nodded in agreement, then clapped loudly, drawing everyone's attention. "Congratulations. Wishing you two a happy reunion, a match made in heaven, growing old together, and having children soon." Only then did they remember that I, Ethan's legal wife, was still at the table. Sophia looked aggrieved, stood up, raised her glass to me. "Sorry, Olivia, I forgot you were still here. Ethan and I are in the past, please don't take it to heart. I apologize to you. I'll drink this glass to you." She was about to down the wine, but Ethan quickly stopped her, comforting her. "Sophia, you've already had so much, don't drink anymore. Besides, it's just a game, why apologize to her?" He turned his head to meet my gaze, his expression returning to normal. "Olivia, it's just a game, are you really going to make a big deal out of this too?" I didn't answer Ethan, just smiled at Sophia. "The Grandview Hotel is right upstairs. How about I book a room for you too? Consider it my wedding gift." "Oh, right, let me tell you another secret. Ethan likes the woman on top. Hope you two have fun tonight." Kevin, acting as Ethan's mouthpiece, immediately started his performance. He grabbed a nearby wine glass and threw it at me. "Olivia, watch your mouth." Crash! The glass hit the wall and shattered on the floor. Sophia quickly tried to mediate. "Olivia, please don't misunderstand. Ethan and I are completely innocent." She always said this, aiming to provoke my anger, leading to a huge fight with Ethan, after which she would comfort Ethan, playing the role of the wronged but understanding victim. I replied calmly, "Between husband and wife, things are naturally innocent." Ethan's face grew darker. "How many times do I have to tell you, Sophia and I are not what you think? You're always imagining things over trivial matters, insisting on making the atmosphere awkward. Do you only know how to embarrass me when I bring you out? Apologize to Sophia and everyone else immediately, and I can let this go." I met Ethan's gaze and asked, amused, "Ethan, in what capacity are you holding me accountable? As my ex-husband?" At these words, the air in the private room seemed to freeze for a moment. Sophia's eyes darted around, a contemptuous smile playing on her lips. "Olivia, are you still angry about the light show?" I knew she brought it up deliberately to make me look like a complete fool. "Olivia, if you're really bothered by it, then I apologize. I truly didn't know beforehand. I only found out when I got there. It was just a welcome party, I didn't expect it to be your 5th wedding anniversary." Ethan took a deep breath, seemingly struggling to suppress his anger. "Olivia, can you be reasonable? Is threatening me with divorce interesting? Sophia has already apologized to you, don't push your luck." Yeah. Just apologize and get it over with, don't delay our game." A few people immediately chimed in, shifting all the blame onto me in a few sentences. I wiped my mouth, said nothing, stood up, and walked towards the door. "Olivia, stop. You weren't home on our 5th anniversary either. What right do you have to accuse me? Isn't it just because your dad was hospitalized and you asked me for money, and I didn't give it? Is it worth all this?" Just as my hand touched the doorknob, I froze upon hearing his words. Ethan's scornful laughter followed from behind. He took a card out of his wallet and slapped it on the table. "Isn't it just about money? Here's 1 million for the surgery fees. Come over here and apologize to Sophia." I turned my head and scrutinized Ethan, my tone flat. The one hospitalized is your father, not mine. After saying this, I quickly left the private room, driving aimlessly down the road. I couldn't understand why signing the divorce papers was so difficult for Ethan. It was a result that would please multiple parties. There was no reason for him to drag it out like this. Before coming, I thought he would sign readily and announce it at the dinner table. Then I'd endure some ridicule from his friends while watching them bless him and Sophia. As long as he signed, I would be free. Idle gossip couldn't hurt me anymore anyway. Driving home, after washing up, I idly opened my social media feed. The first thing that popped up was Sophia's post. In the picture, Ethan was clearly drunk, held tightly in Sophia's arms. The caption was, "Good night, my prince." Now, I had no reaction to this post, not even a stress response. The following 5 days were calm and uneventful. I lived a fulfilling life. Finally, on Friday afternoon, I received the court judgment, divorce granted. At that moment, I felt reborn. I was finally free. No more groveling, no more enduring Ethan's anger, no more feeling hysterical seeing Sophia's posts. I smoothly waited until the end of the workday, feeling incredibly happy. I even wanted to invite colleagues for dinner and karaoke. It had been a long, long time since I felt this happy. Turns out, hanging out with colleagues after work could be this enjoyable. It was 11 o'clock at night when I got home. Just as I stepped out of the elevator, I saw a figure standing by my door. The person was dressed all in black, looking particularly eerie under the green glow of the emergency exit sign. Since I had to drive, I hadn't drunk anything tonight. The sight scared my already sober self badly. I looked closely, it was Ethan. Seeing my ghost-like reaction, a flicker of darkness crossed his eyes. I asked unfriendly, "What are you doing at my doorstep in the middle of the night?" He pressed his lips together, seemingly surprised that my first words were questioning, not concern. Besides, wasn't the reason he couldn't get in because I had changed the password and the lock? He stubbornly lifted his head, pointing at the door. "You changed the password. I can't get in." I found it slightly amusing, walked around him, and unlocked the door with my fingerprint. I intended to close the door, but he grabbed the handle, pulled hard, and said, "Not inviting me in for a sit?" As he spoke, he had already crossed the threshold and walked straight in. I had added many things these past few days. The place no longer looked bare like when he last visited. He walked around my apartment as if it were his own home. The sound of his leather shoes tapped against the wooden floor. He wandered around for a long time, seemingly looking for something. His gaze finally landed on the Van Cleef & Arpels carnelian necklace he had brought last week. It was still in the same state as when he opened it. I had just moved it to the edge of the dining table. "Found what you were looking for. Can you leave now?" I stood by the open door, my face expressionless. Ethan hesitated slightly, stiffened his neck, and pretended to be aloof. "I gave it to you, so it's yours now. Also, I haven't agreed to the divorce." I was getting annoyed, my tone no longer friendly. "The court has already granted our divorce. Whether you agree or not is irrelevant. Since you say it's mine, how I handle it is my business." With that, I strode over, ready to throw the necklace, box and all, into the trash. Seeing this, Ethan felt I was being ungrateful and started fighting me for it. "You've been throwing this tantrum for half a month. Isn't this what you like?" Bang! The necklace box fell to the floor. The necklace, along with its holder, flew out, accompanied by a photograph. I bent down to pick it up. Ethan suddenly rushed over and snatched the photo from my hand. He looked at me in panic, but I didn't spare him a glance, silently tossing the items into the trash bin near the door. I looked towards the door. "Don't worry, I only saw the actual photo today too. Now that you have the picture, you should leave." I issued the eviction order. Ethan's eyes reddened slightly, his voice choked with emotion as he asked, "Actual photo?" I nodded. "Do you want the others too? I can send them to you. You can print the rest out and admire them with your wife." His brain seemed to shut down for a moment, then he glared at me fiercely, shouting, "You hired someone to spy on me." I was speechless. Someone like me, who can't even afford $1 million for surgery fees, hire someone to spy on you? Wouldn't that cost money? It must be that great person Sophia, sending me plenty for free. Ethan seemed unable to believe it, stumbling back a few steps, his body unsteady as he collapsed onto the sofa. Just from the dropped photo, it was clear the angle could only be a selfie. Moreover, he had asked Sophia to buy this necklace for him. He hadn't even looked at it before tossing it to me. It made no sense for me to have put the photo there. The only possibility was Sophia. And hearing me say that Sophia had sent me many similar photos. No wonder. Olivia. Sophia and I are Innocent. I believe you. How many times do you want me to say it? Wasn't this a boomerang effect in its own way? Ethan left, dejected, after I showed him out. After closing the door, I sat on the sofa for a long time. 4 years of dating, 5 years of marriage, 9 years. It's not like feelings disappear instantly just because you say they do. There was still something. Thankfully, not much anymore. It would fade soon. For the next 3 months, Ethan didn't appear before me. Time diluted everything. Gradually, I truly felt nothing. Even today, when he reappeared at my doorstep, I felt no ripple of emotion. Not even surprise or confusion. Just an ordinary stranger. After a glance, I averted my eyes, turned to open my door, but Ethan stopped me. Starting today, we're neighbors. I looked up, puzzled. Ethan seemed to be explaining specifically for me. This place is close to the company, so I bought this apartment. I nodded, subtly pulling my hand away, preparing to go home. Olivia, come over for dinner. Shouldn't neighbors get along? He pointed towards his kitchen, where the aroma of cooking was indeed wafting out. I quickly waved my hand. I wouldn't want to intrude on your meal. No. I cooked all this myself. Didn't you say back in college that sweet and sour pork ribs were your favorite? True, it was my favorite dish even now. But the dish was the dish, the person was the person. If this continued, I was afraid I'd start hating sweet and sour pork ribs. Following the recipe, measuring each ingredient precisely, normally the taste shouldn't change. However, a good ex should stay dead. I turned and went back home. A thought suddenly flashed through my mind. Ethan moved in next door, which meant we'd see each other constantly. Then Sophia, Kevin, and people like them would too? For a moment, I felt like the sky was falling. A strange feeling of nausea, like having a home I couldn't return to, washed over me. I took a deep breath, focus on the present. The next day at the company, just as I was about to ask some colleagues about their shared apartment situation, I saw the team leader approaching with a man in a suit. The leader briefly introduced him, Ethan Harrison, our new general manager, and then took him to tour other areas. I froze on the spot. This move completely fried my CPU. What did this mean? What was happening? The night before he became my new neighbor, and the next morning he became my parachuted-in general manager. Would he bring Sophia or Kevin in tomorrow? God, that would be truly disgusting. Forget it. It didn't matter. Work is work, you can't expect everything to be perfect. Thankfully, the first day passed without incident. I clocked out and headed home. As I was walking, a car horn honked behind me. A black sports car pulled up beside me. The window rolled down, revealing Ethan's face. He smiled. Let's go, we'll head back together. I know it's your restricted driving day, you didn't drive. I looked at the car, then at the ride-sharing app on my phone showing I was number 123 in the queue. Finally, I pulled open the car door and got in. During the evening rush hour, traffic was slow. Ethan, in the driver's seat, suddenly spoke. Whitesnake 2 is out. Let's catch it on the way back. Before this movie was released, I had mentioned to him how much I was looking forward to the sequel. But what did he say back then? What's so interesting about cartoons? No, I have plans to see it tomorrow, Saturday, with someone. He kept his eyes on the road ahead, glancing at the rearview mirror several times, then fell silent for a moment. He pressed on, with whom? A colleague or a friend? Guy or girl? A blind date. He slammed on the brakes, turning his head to stare at me. Horns blared from behind before he refocused on the road. After a long pause, his voice sounded again. Really? I nodded. Yes, really. I don't need to lie to you about something this important. Ha, blind date, important. Are you that desperate? It's a major life event. Of course, I'm anxious. The rest of the drive was silent. We went back to our respective homes. The next day, I arrived at the agreed-upon location. The man was already there. It wasn't actually a blind date with a stranger. Turns out, he was my junior from university. We had even debated against each other. I just didn't expect to run into him on a blind date. Since we were somewhat acquainted, we both agreed to meet. Firstly, to satisfy our parents, and secondly, being familiar made even going through the motions less awkward. Just as I sat down, an uninvited guest appeared before us. Ethan familiarly pulled out a chair and sat down next to me naturally. Across from us, Michael had a gossipy expression, looking back and forth between us. Before I could speak, Ethan challenged Michael. Mr. Evans, is it? Nice to meet you. I'm Olivia's ex-husband. Perhaps the matchmaker wasn't clear on some things. I came specifically today to talk to you. Olivia and I still have many unresolved issues. The divorce was just an accident. Mr. Evans, perhaps you should leave. However, Michael chuckled and retorted bluntly, "Mr. Harrison, I thought you and Sophia had finally tied the knot and achieved your happy ending." Then he turned to me, "Senior, you know I studied law. I handle marriage cases too. If you need anything, just find me. Litigation fees are negotiable. If it's..." Michael's gaze swept over Ethan and me, pausing. "A particularly outrageous case, I won't charge you the litigation fee, Senior. Consider it a thank you gift from back then. Remember to contact me anytime, okay? Available 24/7. With that, Michael stood up and left, leaving a speechless me and a furious Ethan. He turned his head and questioned me, "What's your relationship with him? You ruined my blind date, and now you're asking me who he is?" I sighed helplessly, stood up to leave. Seeing this, Ethan misunderstood, thinking I was going after Michael. He quickly grabbed me, explaining, "No, I came today to tell you, let's get back together." I hastily pulled my hand away, increased the distance, and said coldly, "I'm not interested in playing threesome. No, I'm not with Sophia. I know everything now. She took Dad's money and left back then. She only came back because the money ran out, looking for me to take her back. She even deliberately went to the hospital and provoked Dad into the ICU. Enough." I cut him off impatiently. "Will you ever stop? Or do you think this is fun? No, I genuinely hope we can remarry. I don't have time for this nonsense. We are divorced. We have no relationship." With that, I strode out of the restaurant. On the way, I messaged Michael to apologize. He told me he had said those things intentionally today, and also expressed his regret. Although they were a year apart, the drama Ethan and Sophia stirred up was no secret. Even he had heard about it many times. Finally, he congratulated me on escaping the hardship and embracing a new life. Just as he wished, a new life beckoned. I worked regular hours, commuting between 2 points daily, maintaining a nodding acquaintance with Ethan at the company. Until a new project came down from headquarters, and Ethan specifically assigned me to be in charge. "Tomorrow, you'll accompany me on a business trip." I nodded. Work was work, personal matters were personal matters. I couldn't possibly give up a chance for advancement because of personal issues now. The company arranged the negotiation meeting at a hot springs resort within a scenic area. After talking all day, I returned to my room alone after dinner, utterly exhausted, and collapsed onto the bed. About an hour later, someone knocked on my door. Ethan stood there in a bathrobe, his muscular upper body bare. "Let's go soak in the hot springs." I refused without hesitation. A crack appeared on his handsome face. "Olivia, I know I wronged you. But these days since you left, I've been miserable every moment. I really miss you. I tried contacting you, moved next door to be your neighbor, became your boss, but you completely ignore me, won't even look at me. I know you hate me, it's my fault, but can't you give me a chance?" His eyes were slightly red as he looked at me, full of sorrow. Perhaps my momentary silence made him mistakenly think there was still a chance. He excitedly grabbed my hand, wanting to come in. Without any hesitation, I pulled my hand free, stared into his eyes, and said word by word, "There is no future. Absolutely impossible." He stared at me blankly, then left, looking lost and dejected. How can a broken mirror be mended? Those shattered cracks won't disappear. They will only take root and grow, forming huge chasms. Forever unfillable. Forever indelible.